Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to Contemporary Issue Sunday School class. We are so pleased to have Arok Garang with us again. He's been here before twice, and so glad to have him back and tell us about his foundation and what he's doing in Sudan and Kenya. And also want to welcome Sue Counterman from Board of Director from his foundation, the Seeds of South Sudan. So thank you for coming today. Before we get started, a couple of announcements. Our Zoomers, welcome, and please mute yourself in the lower left corner of your screen when you're not speaking. And we are recording this for future playback on YouTube for those who can't be here. And I want to welcome our guests who are here to see Arok that are not regular members of our Sunday school class. I'm Steve, the leader of the class, and want to welcome you to come back too anytime you'd like to. We do a lot of social issue discussions in this class, and always welcome to have you here. Any other announcements? Things going on in the news? Our president's 80th birthday today. And
big fight.
a lot going on.
Big fight on the South Lawn.
Lots going on the South Lawn today.
The USA won their game in the World Cup.
The USA won their game in the soccer, and New York won their game. They won the championship for the first time in 50 years. 53 years, yes.
Eric must be from New York. It was 50.
And we're gonna be great grandparents.
And you're gonna be great grandparents, the Bunings are. And yes, congratulations. Yes, and Patty.
Okay, and there's an All Peoples Intercultural Community Anniversary Celebration today. This is a group of people. The leader is from Egypt, and he reaches out to all communities around here. Anyone interested? I'll leave this up here. It's and it's an international dinner, and it's today. And he said, invite all your friends, and you don't need to bring food.
All right. But the money,
Okay.
but the money.
Well, they didn't say money. They
I'm sure that-
probably
I'm sure there's a donation.
No, you can't have food without money.
Lots going on. Okay. And any other announcements? Things going on? First trillionaire in the history of America.
Not in this class.
Not in this room. We have some booze. The wealth gap continues between the rich and the poor. Yes.
Several people became millionaires because of all of this.
Many people became, and some billionaires too, in the IPO of SpaceX. Yes, interesting business news. Also,
Wow.
well, some other day we'll discuss all that. Yeah, but today we have something else to talk about. Okay, I want to introduce Arok, and let me just read to you a couple sentences that I emailed to you today. Arok was one of more than 20,000 boys in the ethnic groups that were driven from their villages in Sudan during the Civil War. His parents were killed during a raid on his village when he was 7, and he walked with other children hundreds of miles over 3 countries and lived in the refugee camps there for years. In 1992, they walked through Kenya, stayed at a refugee camp there for 9 years. Arok was able to then come to America in 2001, started with a program started by the U.S. and the United Nations. As many as 3,800 lost boys made it out of there and are now over 38 states in America. Just real quick, when Arok flew to New York and then Denver, at first he learned about cold, this is from the Denver Post story, but learned about cold weather for the first time. And riding in cars and buses made him sick. And when he first got here, he also did not know what hot dogs were, and he thought they were actual cooked dogs. But he's learned since to love hot dogs. Yes, and in 2009, he started his foundation to help rescue children that are in refugee camps in Kenya, close to Sudan, and has housed more than 200 children now that have come out of those refugee camps and helped educate them. And Arok is married, has 8 children, and he is studying to become a minister also still. He received his master's degree in economics in Denver while he was here and has had an incredible life. So let's hear more about it, and please welcome Arok.
Thank you so much for having us again. This is the third time.
Yes.
We are so blessed to be here to speak to you and for me personally to share my personal story. I'm going to give to my friend here, board member Sue Countman, to start us.
I'm going to stand up for just a minute. Thank you. I just want to thank you again for this opportunity. When Arok is in the United States, it is such a joy for me to be with him. He is truly my hero and the hero of so many, and you will hear more about that. This year's presentation, we have named Educating Ethical Citizens to Rebuild South Sudan, and we'll be sharing a little bit more about that along with his story. But first, there are so many friendly faces in the room that I want to acknowledge. My longtime colleague, Jim Milivek, I'm so glad you're here and I get to see you here. Maureen, I was with them when they went off and got married in Europe. Tom and Mary, thank you, longtime supporters of Seeds of South Sudan. And from my home church, St. Philip, it was a delight this morning to walk in and see Wanda. Thank you for being here. And Peter Van Arsdale, whom I'm sure many of you know, is a good friend of Seeds of South Sudan, and he has been the connection for us here. Arok is truly an exceptional person. I think the story I'll start with today is, and you will see us in the refugee camp. We have been in Kakuma together on several occasions, interviewing the children that come into our program. It is an overwhelming place to be. It is overwhelming to interview children selected by the elders whose really future getting out of the camp depends on what they tell us. And despite being a middle school science teacher for 34 years, I can't get all kids to talk. And so it's really prompting them. But the story I'm going to tell you before we start really was being there and having some of the people that Arok knows from Haliel coming into the campus up to us to greet him and saying, many have left Kakuma. Arok is the only one that's come back for us. And that was such a powerful, and is such a powerful thing for me to experience with him. But you'll hear more about how he's been called by God to when he was saved as a 7-year-old boy. I got connected to him because of my work at Colorado Academy, and I have twin sons that are just 2 years younger than Arok, and imagining him as a 7-year-old boy herding cattle when his village was burned. Let's see if I might have to sit down, sorry. And hearing the family, knowing the village is on fire and he can't go back. He'll tell you more about that. But he is the founder of our organization. He came to the US in 2001. He is currently completing his master's at Africa International University. He is an amazing father, an amazing husband, and the leader of all of our students there. We're going again this year. We might tell you a little bit about that towards the end. And the students there who've had their own challenges, they haven't had food every day. They may have seen their parents killed as well, but they still say what we have gone through is nothing like what Arok went through as a lost boy of Sudan. And he's going to tell you a little bit about that. Would you like to take over?
Sure. Well, I was born in 1982 in the southern part of Sudan. Sudan is one of the biggest countries in Africa, but Sudan has been in war with itself for over 50 years. Why? It is because of oil, it is because of identity, which is Sudan as African population and an Arab population. And the Arab population in the north which is the Islamic government, defines Sudan as one of the Arab countries, and the people in the source define Sudan as one of the African countries. So the oil also was one of the things. Oil was found in Sudan, in the southern area, and that has been one of the conflict. One of the conflict is religion, because the people in the north who are Arab want to Islamize everybody in the source. So even today, in 2011, Sudan was divided into two countries with the hope that it will bring peace that will last long. But even today, Sudan, both Sudan, the South Sudan and the North Sudan are both in war. I hope some of you have read it in the news for many different reasons. So Sudan has not been peaceful, even with so many things that have been done to bring peace. So to go back to my personal story, I was born in 1982 in a small village called Baliao in the southern part of Sudan. My mom and my dad were farmers who keep cows, goat, sheep, and donkey. When I was 7 years old, life was wonderful. I used to play with my cousin and friend, and we enjoy everything we could. I couldn't imagine that I would one day live that life because I love being around animals. But in 1989, war broke out. Many villages were attacked in southern part of Sudan because the oil was found in the area, and the Islamic government wanted to chase the people away. So it happened one in the afternoon while I was in the bush looking at the young cows. So we hear a sound of machine gun, people screaming, smoke rising from the village, and people running. So we were wondering what was going on, and some few people ran in our direction and told us run. So we keep running, hoping that in the evening we will come back. But the militias were running after us, so we end up meeting with other boys from different villages, and we keep moving from place to place. I didn't have any clothes or any shoes. We just walking, and we didn't have any food. We ate anything that we could get along the road, along the way, and big issue was the lack of water. We bring any dirty water we could get. And some of my friends got sick. Some died because of hunger, and some get sick and die. Some eat poisonous food because we were trying to eat anything we could to survive. Personally, I was lucky. I had one of my older cousins who was able to whenever we get any dirty water, he was able to carry some for me because it was always 100 degrees hot. So we moved from place to place, and some of my friends died, and I was afraid. I was concerned. Maybe tomorrow I will die too. But God put in my heart the hope that one day, don't give up. One day you will go back and help rebuild your village. And yeah, this is a map of Sudan or South Sudan. You could see I came from Juba area. My place is not far from Juba area. So we walk from Juba to the country of Ethiopia. I don't say that one. So yes. So at the end of 1989, we arrived here in Ethiopia. The United Nations came and provided us with food for a little bit. And then they went for 2 months and then they came back again. They give us medicine and food. And that was the first time that we were given the name Lost Boys because there were over 30,000
Oh,
of
wow.
us who didn't know what happened with their parents. Like me, my mom and my dad were killed at the time, and I didn't know until 3 years later
Oh,
that they were killed. So we stayed there, and then war broke out in Ethiopia. The government was changed, and we were forced at the gunpoint to leave because the new regime didn't like us. So we were told by the United Nations to go along the border from Ethiopia, go along the border all the way to Kenya. So that journey took us about a year because of rainy season. We have to cross rivers. And some of my colleagues drowned in rivers, some were eaten by crocodile. Some get lost. Nobody know what happened to them because it was very chaotic and there were many of us. So the good thing at the time, the UN told us, follow us. I don't know what they did, but they dropped food wherever we were. But because there was flooding, sometimes the food got in the water and get destroyed. So one of the things that I will never forget is when we were walking, it was raining, and the flooding, we were in the water, like the water were here. And at night, we didn't have any place to sleep, so we just climbed a tree. And there were thousands of mosquitoes that you cannot close your eyes. I didn't thought I would get out of that water because we were in the water for 2 weeks. So we keep walking. In 1992, I don't know if there is a picture of Kakuma.
This is the next picture I have.
Yeah.
This is a new one.
So we arrived in Kenya in 1992 in a place called Kakuma. It was a very desolate place. It was very dry, very hot. And the United Nations came again. And they helped us with food and water. We have to build our own huts. And in Kakuma, we want to learn. We didn't have any classroom. And we didn't have any chalkboard or anything to write. So we used to write on the dirt using our fingers. That's how we learn A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. And we didn't have any typical teachers. So if someone know 1, 2, 3, they can teach A, B, C, D. So that's how we learn here in Kakuma. I usually tell high school students when I speak in high school how blessed we are that we have this smart classroom and we have book read. When I was in Kakuma, we didn't have any book read. So in Kakuma, life was not easy because there were millions of refugees around the world. And most of the time, the UN budget, being a refugee is something that is not planned. It's something that can happen overnight, whether it's because of a disaster happen, earthquakes, wars. So United Nations, most of the time, their job is trying to maintain you in a refugee camp, not to die, but at least to have something to eat to keep you going. So we used to eat 1 meal a day, if you are lucky. And then there are some days before we get enough food, you go for 3 days without food that were called black days. And when we first came to Kakuma, we walked for 15 miles every day to get water. And it was even not clean water.
15 miles?
15 miles every day.
Walk 15 miles to get water from that refugee camp.
So I usually
3 days without food and then 1 day with food.
no water.
I usually tell our high school students how blessed we are. When we need water, we get it in the room. When we need food, we have food. So we go to Kakuma refugee camp. Actually, the purpose that I'm alive today, I thank God because God is so good to me. The Bible says, give thanks to God because He's good and His love is forever. I think that is Psalm 107, verse 1, and it's mentioned everywhere in the New Testament. So I think my purpose why I'm here today, I do what I do with friends of mine who have joined me along the way because I want to say I want to thank God for what He has done to me, to share, whatever the Lord is giving me the opportunity to have many American friends who have to help to educate them with the hope that these people will go back to South Sudan to help rebuild the country. Well, people could say Sudan has been South Sudan or Sudan has been in war for many years. There is a hope. There is a hope. If we give these children an opportunity, they could go back and rebuild. And that's what we do. That is Sue Kaufman in the middle and me.
Looking really good.
Nice t-shirt.
Yeah. And so when we go in, we do an interview. I will give it to Sue from here. I will say what we do.
Well, one thing I wanted to say, the first time I was in the camp was 2017. I think this is that trip. And one of the other things Arok has told me, you can see there are now trees there and there are water distribution places. Arok and I also went down with the children from Kakuma, went down to the riverbed where there were some boreholes. But so some things, I think you can see a water container in the back there. Another thing, the women who are so beautifully dressed for our arrival are the elders there. And one of the questions that we get so much is if you'll see in just a minute, there are up to 290,000 refugees in the areas of Kakuma and another camp called Kalabeli. I don't say that word right. And how do we choose the children that were going to come into our program? And the elders have a lot to say about that. It is a remarkable change. And one of the things I really want to tell you about is a few of our students who are going to make a mark on the world. I don't say that lightly, and I mean it. But how do you pick a child who's learning ABCs in the dirt and doesn't have school and is so malnourished to become the leaders? We do believe we're raising up the ethical leaders today. But after a day of interviewing, I really just go lay down in my very small little concrete room and just pray because it's out of my hands at that point. Most of the children will not tell me, like, what are you good at? So the question that came up that seems to spark a little bit more conversation is, what would your friends say about you? And then they're a little bit more comfortable telling me because we really need them to tell us about themselves because our model is based on sponsors. But look at this beautiful face. We also know the realities of 2025 with USAID cutting off food rations. Things are very dire. Not all refugees have been put into 4 groups. As we understand it, we've been getting updates, and only the first 2 groups get any support whatsoever, medical, food. The others are really left to fend for themselves. Do you want to add on to that?
Well, that is a big thing now in Kakuma refugee camp, especially with support that was given, especially the medicine. And not even talking about food. Everything has been cutting off. There were medicine for malaria because in a refugee camp, malaria is one of the common. So some of the refugees want to leave to go to South Sudan, but they have not been given that permission to leave. So because they think if they go back to South Sudan, they can grow their own food because in Kakuma, it's very dry. It doesn't rain frequently, so it's kind of a disaster.
Question, if I
Yes.
can, does the UN still run the Kakuma, Kenya refugee camp? Is it in charge of the whole camp and food and everything? Okay, because we hear about the UN sometimes as being just a debate society. And the US has stopped funding a lot of it, thinking that it doesn't really do much. But we've heard that it provides food programs and actually runs these refugee camps still. Is that correct?
And I would add on to that, we went, Arok and I, the second time we went together, my faith tradition is Lutheranism, and we went to the Lutheran World Relief Foundation, the Norwegians, the Italians. There are many organizations that are given very specific roles. So all the, honestly, I don't remember every piece of it, but they are also established there. I have never gone into the UN compound. Our student Yardang, some of our students that volunteer teach work with the UN, and there is a big compound there, but they would not even be able to do what they do without the support of all the international relief organizations. Is there anything else that I missed?
Yeah, the UN is still, the Kakuma, the refugee camp is being still run by the UN.
Still run, okay.
Yes, so.
Does it run many other refugee camps too, the UN?
Oh, yes. It's
Okay.
like Sue said, partner with others organization, non-profit organization. And they are the one that run the refugee.
Yeah, we don't hear much about that.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And they're also there at the behest of the Kenyan government. And there's that Kenyan commander, I don't know if that, there's a process if you're an individual supposedly for getting into the camp, which we followed the first time we were there. And later, if there's time, I could tell you maybe a funny story about that. But we did have to get official paperwork in Nairobi to go into the camp, although the camp borders are fluid. And so the second time we're like, we're not doing that, we're just going. But there are, without the Kenyan government support, I mean, 290,000 refugees.
Wow.
We are still thankful. And there are times over the 14 years that I've been a volunteer with Seeds of South Sudan, that we think the Kenyan government is going to make the decision to close the camp, which is very frightening. And I don't think that's on the table right now, to my knowledge.
Wow.
Would you mind taking questions while we're
Oh, I'd
talking?
love to. No, not at
Okay.
all.
We've
Yes.
got a microphone on the side, Frank, if you would grab that microphone and pass it over this way. We've got a question already in the middle. Pass the microphone through, please. Thank you.
Yes, my question is this still a steady stream of refugees coming to the camp, or is this now generational of refugees living there and having children there and like an established village of refugees?
That is a very good question. Many people have lived in Kakuma refugee for a long time, but almost every month, because of the conflict in South Sudan, there are always people coming in. So the number keep increasing every time. But some people have lived there for a long, long time.
And had children there.
Yeah.
My question is, back in 2024, in the Olympic Games, in Summer Olympics, the Sudan basketball team almost beat the American basketball team.
Yeah.
And I wonder where those players came from. And were they North Sudan, South Sudan? I just wondered about that. I'd like to know a little bit about where those players came from, because I know there were some American college coaches who were really interested in it.
Well, that's a very good question, because South Sudan nowadays participate in the international game, especially the World Cup, and the team was from South Sudan. I think the name is Giant of the Nile. That's the name
Giant
of
of the Nile.
That's the team. In South Sudan, mostly people who live along the Nile are very tall, and yeah, they are there are many that are now in the NBA here in the US.
Yeah.
Oh, there are from
Yeah.
South Sudan.
Yeah, from South Sudan.
Oh.
Do you play basketball?
I don't, I play soccer.
Ah.
Very
I thought it was football.
Yes, you could say football.
Anything else?
I hear about lost boys. What happened to the girls?
Oh,
Yes. I forgot all about
She
that.
said, she's heard about lost boys, but what happened to the girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good question. When the villages and town in southern part of Sudan were attacked, the main target were male children because the Islamic government were thinking that these children, when they grow up, they will join the southern rebel who was fighting the government. So mostly when there was attack, the male children ran very fast because they were the main target. They killed them immediately. There were occasions that some of the girls were killed too, some were taken to be slavery, kind of slavery used to exist in Sudan. So there are few lost girls who made it to the United States. Out of 3,800 and something, there are 89 girls who made it. So that's a very good question. That was the situation.
But there were not many girls in your group when you were 7 and you all fled. It was mostly boys.
It was mostly boys. Yes, because we were the main target.
Main targets of the soldiers. Okay.
Did your cousin survive?
My cousin survived, but went back when we were in Khartoum and joined the army and got killed.
Oh.
Want to give our Zoom participants a chance to ask a question too, now or toward the end. If anybody's got a question, go right ahead, or a comment. That's okay. We'll continue on.
We're going to talk now about the program Seeds of South Sudan that Arok was called to start. And I put this up here. This young girl, and I love her smile. She was just recently sponsored by someone in my Rotary Club, actually. But what I love, it gives you a little bit of history of she says, I was born in Kapiota, South Sudan. My favorite subject is English. And I'd like to become a teacher. Liked it for that too. Teachers are not well paid in Africa, but so that I can help others also learn and become educated. I also love to cook. And then my friends say I'm friendly and kind, and that I have a beautiful smile and a light that shines out from my eyes.
Oh, wow.
Please consider sponsoring me so that I have a chance to pursue my dreams and to help others pursue theirs. God bless. The students in our program understand that they are the seeds of change and that they are they are driven to help others, much in the way Arok did. This is a picture of our home base, which is in Nakuru, Kenya. With the help of our Vada Covenant Church and other donors, we were able to purchase this, I think, on our trip in 2019. A big change for us. I was asked by Steve earlier. Everyone in the United States is a volunteer. If you are as compelled as I am, if this story moves you, we're happy to have you join us as a volunteer in the US. We are an all volunteer board here. In country, we do have paid staff. We have in-country director, cook, assistants, and to help support the children currently in our program. Our children all go to a boarding school. There's a British boarding school model. They also say there's no grade inflation like there is in the US. And even as a middle school teacher, maybe I could pass the science test, but by the time they get to high school, I'm pretty sure I cannot pass this test. More on that later. It is a very caring place, but it does have a very rigorous curriculum. This is some of our students standing out in front of Roots Academy. It is a top-notch school there, and we have had students, including the student. We've had 4 students, including the one supported over many, many years by Colorado Academy, where Jim and I taught, who was head girl, which means the top student out of 1,000 students. And remembering that the class is taught in English, that's not even their first language. Students as Arok speak Dinka, maybe Arabic, Swahili, and English might be their third or fourth language. And so to become head girl, we've had head boys, is a testimony to the dedication of these students to change their lives. There's also a swimming pool there. So they love to show me that when they tour. That's a big deal to learn to swim. This is a picture of our kids in their uniforms. What I also love about Roots Academy, I've been there several times. I've been there on closing day with Pastor Heidi McGinnis. We've said a few words, is it is such a caring place. The schools are very rigorous. They're trying to get students ready because everything depends on the exam. And yet, if you can read on the left, I took this picture, from small beginnings come great things. And all over the campus of Roots Academy are motivational statements. The kids, when I speak with the wheels still today, they think so highly of the teachers at Roots Academy. Anything else?
I want to mention, just for our Zoom participants, I'm not able to show the exact slides that we have on the screen here in the room, but I'm showing some other ones of the children also, so that our Zoom folks can see them. Sorry, go ahead.
We have another question.
What does it cost to sponsor someone like that young girl?
Thank you. I will show you at the end, if that's okay.
All right.
It's yeah.
Yes, if you could see in this picture,
Oh, yeah, that's
we have,
But I can't show this on the screen. So that's,
Oh.
yeah, sorry, we're
Okay.
two separate computers. We have to be two different kinds of computers. That's
there's some
okay.
great pictures.
But go
that you
ahead and-
found.
yes, I want to mention that the picture that is Steve showing here on his computer, we have 3 students. One of them who is in pharmacy school in the post years, and one of them was graduated as a lawyer.
Pharmacy school and a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will show you more here.
Very
So
good.
most of the, like Sue has mentioned, most of the school, 95% of the school in Kenya are boarding school. My older son joined when he was 9 years old. And he's now, he's going to graduate next year, and he's about 7 hours away from home. So, and boarding school are like college year. You go for 3 months and then you come back for 1 month and then you go back. They don't have summer. They just have 1 month break in between. So I will let you talk about this.
When I met Arok and came alongside his vision, it was to educate 100 students, which seemed like an impossible thing to do. I will share with you our model and how it works in just a minute. We have now, educated, we have students still in our program, but we've educated 222 students, which is phenomenal for a small nonprofit. I always say, God does not call the equipped, but equips the called. I'm a science teacher, but coming alongside Arok has been a joy of my life. But we have 91 students who have graduated high school. We have 29 college students, 14 college graduates, and we're going to show you a few pictures of some of our graduates and students in college. Our mission has been to educate refugee children to become seeds of change for South Sudan. I can testify being there. Each student receives a fabulous education and that they can then create, and we want them to create a strong, peaceful society in South Sudan. Yes, sir.
I'm probably the only person here in your audience. Would you clarify for me, what is the genesis of the crisis? What is it that's perpetuating the problem that you're so eloquently describing?
No.
I apologize for my ignorance.
No.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. The problem started because of 3 things that I mentioned before. Why Sudan has been in war with itself for a long time. It started because of oil, because of identity, because of religion. There were other things, the division of resources. And the conflict now in both Sudan and in South Sudan and North Sudan is very different because the conflict in South Sudan now is kind of element of tribal. the power, the political, you know. Yeah, I remember we in America talk about race, but in South Sudan or in Africa, sometimes, you know, we are black people and we are killing each other. You know, that is the genesis of the problem. That's how it started. But now it's more about political competition. In South Sudan, for example, we vote here for our president, right, in the United States. We vote because of their ideas, we like their ideas, or because of facts. In Africa, elections are the problem. Who will be the leader? Every tribe, let's say in South Sudan, there are 64 tribes. And people don't just vote for you because of your ideas. Sometimes they just vote for you because you belong to that tribe. And that complicates things. And when someone loses the election, they will not accept it.
When you lose the election, they will not accept it.
You will fight so that you could be accommodated somewhere in the government. So I hope I answer a little bit of.
54 tribes. That's
64.
64.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
That is speak different languages. I speak 5 because
Colorado counties.
Dinka being the tribe in power, queer, Nuer being another, but there are many other smaller ones. On my trip in 2024, I got to stand in as the mother for our orphan Dr. Earlier Jacqueer. His parents, I think, were clapping in heaven. I was at the University of Nairobi. It was really remarkable. He is now hoping, we just heard there's a stumbling block to begin. He's done his residency at a clinic near the Kibera slum. You may have heard of the Kibera slum in Nairobi, the largest slum, I believe, in Africa. And he's hoping to study orthopedic surgery. But as a South Sudanese, despite graduating from the University of Nairobi, right now we have to appeal for him to continue with his studies. I'm confident and hopeful that that'll happen. We also, these are our second and third law students who just graduated. They're working in Nairobi now, very interested in supporting and reinforcing the rule of law in South Sudan. Do you want to talk about the tutoring or do you want me to?
Sure. Well, every year when our high school students graduated, they go for volunteer service. Especially they go first to Kakuma refugee camp to teach. And then they go for a year to volunteer in South Sudan to connect with relatives who are alive and to connect with the culture and the place and to see what are the opportunities that are there. So a student go and volunteer. This student, his name is Jack Atem, is teaching in Kakuma refugee camp. He's now in school doing what they call clinical medicine in Nairobi. So we send our students for volunteer work, our high school graduate every year to go to South Sudan, to the places that are safe. Not every place in South Sudan is safe, but they go and do agricultural work. They do a lot of different things in the community that they go to.
I got to tell a funny story. Aguil Lualdang, who was supported by Colorado Academy for all her career, she went and taught 5th grade science. And I was talking with her and she said, I got so mad at these students and I had to punish them. And she said she had a student who was, I don't know, he was an older boy. They were only coming because I think he couldn't work in the fields at the time. And I said, well, what's your punishment? And she said, well, I made him walk the miles to go get water for the class because he made me mad. So I, can't do that here, but it was kind of funny. She said, I think she wanted to get him out of class. I think, Jim, we've had kids we wanted to get out of class for a moment or two, but go get the water. I don't care that it's 4 miles down the road. Go get it. This story is so heartwarming, and I've asked Steve to share with you later our website with our YouTube channel because we can't share a video. The young woman in the white dress in the middle, her name is Yar Dang. She's back volunteering in Kakuma and working through the UN there. She is our shining star. We can talk more if you like about grades, but she did very well on the high school exit exam in December of 2024. She was at Alliance Girls High School one. They go to high school based on their ranking at the end of junior high, and she was at one of the top national schools and just thrived. There are internationally known people who have gone to the school, Alliance Girls High School, but what do we do next? So last year we were trying to get her into school in Kenya. We know she would be successful wherever she is. She has a couple of videos up on our YouTube channel that if you watch anything, please watch that. She's been there since that time, teaching high school, teaching all those boys, getting them in line. I'm not sure I could do that, and girls, and applying for scholarships to Canada. We've had the most success with our top students going to Canada, but it's an incredibly competitive process. Since Arok has been here a week or two ago, well, I'm jumping ahead in the story. We found out she was accepted by the University of Toronto and will be leaving in August. She did not want to go to the University of Nairobi, where we were hoping we could get a scholarship for her. And over the course of the year and a half that she was there, she got a severe stomach bacterial infection, had to be evacuated to the home base, get medical attention for a while. And I'm like, oh God, please don't let us lose this young woman who is so incredible. But her video talks about not understanding any English and coming into Roots Academy early in the morning to practice words. And she is our top female. Her story, and she talks about giving back, but she is destined for great things. But I hope that in August, she will be arriving at the University of Toronto, if nothing else changes, to make that happen. But we have a number of students that have gone to Canada, but I'm just thrilled with her story. We also have our first, I was with Arok in 2017 when we knew we had one college scholarship supported by Arvada Covenant Church. We went over there and met these 5 incredible young men who were our first high school graduates and came back and were like, Arok was still living here most of the year at the time. How do we get all of them into college? We've got to find a way. And we did. And now these two, Alir Jacquir, you saw, he's a medical doctor. You'll see one of the others. These 2 young men are graduated from seminary at Africa International University. They went out in the community. They worked for room and board at a boarding school in South Sudan, and now they're back. I'm going to turn this over to you because anything else? I don't think I have the one on queer.
Is there anything?
No, and I wanted to talk queer queer, but I left that slide out. Can you talk about him anyway?
Well,
it's on my other slide.
Who's the sponsor here, Tom Alanda, has been one of our leaders, one of our student leaders. He just graduated with a degree master's degree in development finance. And he is working now with South Sudan Aviation Company, taking care of billing and I don't know what is the other word. But we are very thankful. He's one of the leaders and he's there now in South Sudan. So he's helping, taking care of other people that are in South Sudan. He's one of amazing leaders and he has been working very hard. We thank God for him because he is a good Christian leader. I wish we had a picture of him.
I probably can get one over there, but I'm sorry, I have 2 different slide decks. These 5 young men who have now graduated really will be leaders in South Sudan. And when you get them together, we do. I also didn't, I guess, provide the slides of our trip in November. When we get together, we have service trips every other year. This year's trip is full. We have 13 of us going. But if you want to see our operations, please connect with us. And next time we go, we'd love to have you along. We do health screenings. We do girls leadership seminars, and we interview the college students. And all of them hold up Arok as their hero as well. What each and every one of these students has gone through is harrowing. Like I said, most of them, their parents have been killed, many cases in front of their own eyes. But Arok's story as a lost boy, traveling all that time from south of Juba into Ethiopia and then to Kakuma, losing all those other children along the way, is its own special hell. I don't know. And when he talks about those 2 weeks, if you heard that, being underwater most of the time and climbing trees to sleep. And yet, Arok's vision has sustained us as a small volunteer nonprofit. Many of them don't make it a decade, for 14 years now here in Colorado. And we continue, like we said, we just had those 2 girls that we took out of the refugee camp. Ways that you can help us. All of our college students need computers. If you're thinking of getting a new computer, Arok, can you imagine him? He wants to take a dozen computers back with him in July. That's a lot to take, but we need them for all our college students. They typically don't have them until that time. We also are starting a new program that I'm taking the 15 8th graders camping in Kenya for the first time. We're going to a place called Eden Thriving. It is run by a missionary in Southeast Africa. I heard her first on the Center for Action and Contemplation, if you know Richard Rohr, and we've connected with her. And my church, St. Philip, is through their endowment fund, is providing a leadership opportunity for those students at that pivotal time in life, but we have some other needs around that. We are, the main way, Larry just asked earlier, the main way that we continue with our program is a one-on-one sponsorship of a student. We have Bible study groups that also sponsor students if it seems like 150 a month is not something you could do. We do, when the kids come to home base, there's no mail service, but when the kids are at home base, we do have them write letters and then we bring them back or fax them to us. So you will hear from your student. Like any small nonprofit, we definitely need people to come alongside and be monthly donors. We just heard, you saw a picture of the home base, that we need all new mattresses, we need kitchen supplies, we need sheets and towels. So we have a campaign going for that. And we would love to come to your organization in the time that Arok is here, if that's a possibility.
Come to speak.
Come to speak.
Okay. We've got about 7 minutes left, and we are going to also pass a little basket for donations. If anybody would like to contribute some cash here, Vicki, to start it around. And
where
go ahead.
is Arok going to go? I understood you were going to go to seminary. Are you going to go to Nairobi, or are you going to go here in the United States? Because we have a really good one here in Denver, Island.
Well, that's a very good question. I'm going there in Nairobi, and I'm done with all my classes. I'm working on thesis. Yes.
We have
I
never
need to
been
go
able to.
here, but it's very expensive.
Yeah, we've never been able to get a student, anyone, into college here since he was here and as when he lived here. But we have been attempting, if any of you have connections to colleges, we've worked with Regis, worked with Gonzaga, and we've gotten along, but it's still more expensive than going to college there. We have some questions on this side, I believe.
Who do we write the check to?
Seeds of South Sudan, please. Thank you very much.
I got a question. Maybe you've already talked to the outreach team, outreach ministry at this church, but have you considered setting up a table, like say next Sunday when we have this community gathering outside? It's like a barbecue thing next Sunday. Have you thought about setting up a table and pitching these ideas and handing out these flyers? So I think that would be a great way to get the church involved. I would certainly like to get that involved. And as a fellow science teacher, I'm curious what you think about the water, how deep do they have to go to dig a well? That's at this camp. And what about the sanitation facility? So water and sanitation, I'm very curious about.
Yes. They have dug some wells, and I don't know how deep, but If you know Peter Van Arsdale, which my guess is you do, he has asked us to investigate more in Kakuma about how deep the wells are. We do, do you know how deep they are? There is a intermittent river there, and we were there after it had rained. Do you remember that? The first time, and the road was actually flooded out because there's no infrastructure. But mostly they're just hand dug wells that the people in the community use, and the water is very unclean.
Because there's a Christian organization that digs wells in Central America, Nicaragua, El Salvador, called Living Water.
Living Water.
And you might want to look into that. I'll check and see if I can find the website.
Thank you.
What kind of screening do you do on the seminaries? I mean, as far as the denominational affiliations and so forth, how discriminating are you on that?
Well, the seminaries that I go and that two of our students go is a non-denomination seminary, is evangelical. They call it an evangelical Christian seminary. So mostly the requirements are different. They want to see where you have served before, and you know, they want you to write a story about your call by God. So those are the criteria that they look at.
The reason I asked Stanford Seminary has always been rather vibrant as far as international ministries and so forth. I'm just curious, Stanford Seminary was something you had to investigate, or not?
Sure. I haven't investigated Denver Seminary because my sponsor who sponsored me to go to seminary want me to go to a seminary in Africa because it's cheaper compared to the US. Yeah.
And there's an international faculty there, though, right?
Oh, yes. Most of the professors are from America. Yes, and even Europe.
Yeah.
I don't have.
So there are even students all over the world that go there because they call it Africa International.
If you sponsor a child, can you have a long-term relationship with that kid after they grow up?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You want, yes. That option is there after your student graduated. We connect you so that you two could communicate.
A lot of our sponsors end up going with us over to Kenya to meet their student, which is an incredibly powerful experience, I will tell you. Our students don't have phones or anything when they're in, school until they get to college. Yes, I will, I'm on WhatsApp with my students.
Great.
So you can
Yeah,
write
question.
them and continue on.
Yes. Yes.
Indefinitely.
Yes.
We just have a couple minutes left, Corinne.
Just a quick question. Are the refugee campus, is there any safety issues, or do you feel, does everyone feel secure?
Yeah, the population in Kakuma refugee camp, sometimes there is issues of insecurity because there are local people called Turkanas. Sometimes they think that they don't want refugees because they think they are occupying their land. So in the past, people got killed by these local people. The UN has provided Kenyan police that protect the camp. But there are issues sometimes between the refugees themselves, because the refugees are all from all Africa, some from Somalia, Eritrea, Rwanda. So there are so many. So sometimes there is insecurity in the camp. It's not 100% all the time, but sometimes it's better. Thank you.
Very good. We are out of time, but we want to thank Arok and Sue for their time today. And if you want to know more about them, go to seedsofsouthsudan.org and see their website. And thank you so much for being with us. Bless you. We'll pray for you.
Where's the basket?
And pass the basket around. Okay, we have to go. We have to vacate the room for the next group coming in. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Really good ideas.